Hi, welcome to the 18th flashback. In this video, I'll introduce some of the best films from Japanese cinema. In a poor family of four, the father is a simple worker who has recently injured his ankle and can no longer work. The mother works in a dry cleaner, the eldest daughter works at a fetish club, and the youngest son helps his father by carrying things from stores. Together with their elderly landlord, they form a warm and close-knit family that takes in a little girl who has been abandoned. This little girl is better cared for by this small family than by her biological parents. However, soon after, this family faces arrest and trial for the crime of kidnapping her. The director of the film is Hirokazu Koreeda, and the film has a runtime of about 2 hours. It's a family drama, suitable for teenagers aged 15 and up. While it may not be an outstanding film, it's certainly a good, entertaining, and enjoyable one for both casual viewers and more discerning audiences, especially those interested in cinema and Japanese culture. In this next story, a small family with one son and another family from a different social class and culture discover that their 6-year-old son was accidentally swapped at birth in the hospital. The two families now face a difficult decision: take care of their biological child while also keeping the other child, or exchange the two temporarily. Once again directed by Hirokazu Koreeda, this film also has a runtime of about 2 hours. It's a comedy drama that falls under the family genre. This film is also enjoyable for family settings and offers entertainment for both casual viewers and discerning audiences.
モデルさん入ります。
お着付けは個人様の尊厳を守るため、ご遺族の皆様に個人様の肌が見えないよう細心の注意を払って行っております。
A young cellist returns to his hometown with his wife after his orchestra disbands, and he becomes unemployed. After some job searching, he reluctantly takes up work as a funeral attendant. His wife leaves him due to this, but both of them later realize that this seemingly lowly job can provide comfort and solace to grieving families, perhaps more so than his previous life as a musician. Directed by Yojiro Takeda, the film lasts 2 hours and 10 minutes. It fits within the family genre and is appropriate for a family setting. This film is valuable, entertaining, and enjoyable, especially for those interested in Japanese culture and cinema. Both casual viewers and discerning film enthusiasts will appreciate it. Tea Time focuses on the life of the Haruna family, who live in a village north of Tokyo. The family includes a young girl who occasionally sees a giant doppelganger of herself, a boy caught up in the struggles of relationships and going through a coming-of-age crisis, a father who is a doctor, a mother working on her animation projects, an aunt who is a voice actor, and a funny grandfather. I consider this film to be surreal and entertaining for all audiences. Fans of Japanese anime will especially enjoy it, as the film's melancholic and dreamlike atmosphere strongly evokes the works of Miyazaki. Directed by Katsuhito Ishii, this film has a runtime of 2 hours and 23 minutes. It fits within the family fantasy or imaginary genre and is suitable for family viewing. It's a good film, and for a specific audience, it could even be considered excellent.
してた。どこに？
Takaro is a simple employee who, one night, on the advice of a stranger, returns home early and catches his wife cheating in another man's arms. After killing his wife, he turns himself in to the police. Years later, after being released from prison, he opens a hair salon and begins working there with a woman who had once saved him from suicide, now his assistant. As can be guessed, the young woman starts to fall in love with Takaro. However, he is unable to respond to her declaration of love, or perhaps he is not interested, because he is focused entirely on his pet iguana. The director of the film is Shohei Imamura, and the runtime is just under 2 hours. This film does not fit into the family genre, so it's not suitable for a family setting. It is truly unique and strange, and I would give it a high rating. I think discerning film enthusiasts and specific audiences will definitely enjoy this film. Personally, I recommend it to those who love Japanese cinema. In a small village in 19th century Japan, it was customary for elderly individuals to be taken to the mountains by their family members upon reaching the age of 70, where they would be left to perish from the cold, heat, or hunger, as they were no longer considered useful to the community. This practice is referred to as voluntary or involuntary forced death. The film centers around a 69-year-old mother of a family who has only 1 year left to manage her family's affairs. This film depicts the harsh rural life of that specific geography and time. It is a remake or inspired by a 1958 version. Shohei Imamura, the director, has created a film that, like the previous one, has a runtime of 2 hours and 10 minutes. It is a historical drama, and it is not suitable for a family setting. In my opinion, the film is excellent for discerning film enthusiasts and specific audiences interested in Japan's history, culture, and cinema. A schoolteacher and an amateur entomologist miss their bus back to Tokyo and accept an offer from 2 locals. They spend the night in a house located in a large sandy pit, which they must enter using ropes. The next day, the teacher realizes that the locals have deceived him and left him in the pit with the lonely wife of the house owner, with no escape route available. Hiroshi Teshigahara directed this film, which is based on a novel of the same name by Kobo Abe. The runtime is 2 hours and 26 minutes, and it can be categorized as a psychological drama. This film is not suitable for a family environment, but it is definitely an exceptional film for discerning film enthusiasts and specific audiences. In the mid-14th century, during Japan's internal wars, a middle-aged woman and her daughter-in-law, who live alone in a marsh, sustain their lives by stealing and killing soldiers who have lost their way in the swamp. When a young man, who was a comrade of the middle-aged woman's son and the young woman's husband, returns, the relationship between the 2 women becomes strained. The young man brings news of the death of the only man in their family and begins to form a new relationship with both women. The director of this film is Kanto Shindo, and the runtime is 1 hour and 42 minutes. It can be categorized as a historical genre film. This film is not suitable for a family environment, but it can truly be an excellent film in its own right. I would rate it as good, and discerning film enthusiasts and specific audiences will definitely be the target audience for this film. This film depicts the life of a small 4-member family consisting of a couple and their 2 sons, who are the only inhabitants of a small island. The family's routine naturally involves farming and bringing fresh water from a nearby town to the island for both their agricultural needs and personal consumption. The only entertainment for this family during the year might be visiting a restaurant in town, which is possible because the 2 sons can catch a large fish, sell it, and use the money to go to this restaurant. With minimal dialogue, the film presents a lifestyle so different that it might be hard for us, perhaps lazy and spoiled people of the 21st century, to believe. The director of the film is Kanto Shindo. It runs for 1 hour and 36 minutes, showcasing slow cinema. You can watch the film in a family setting, and it is unique in its own way, especially for a specific audience. The story of Tokyo follows the cliché tale of elderly parents who travel from a small town to the capital to visit their children. During their visit and meetings with their children, they experience neglect due to the busy lives their kids lead. Aside from the personal conflicts and interactions among the characters, the film can be seen as a depiction of the confrontation between 2 generations and 2 lifestyles, the traditional lifestyle and generation versus the modern lifestyle and generation. The director of the film, Yasujiro Ozu, presents this in a runtime of 2 hours and 13 minutes. The genre is family-oriented, much like the previous film, and it fits within the realm of slow cinema. It's a film you can enjoy in a family environment, and it stands out as unique and special, just like the previous one. In the final section, we have a short segment, Jumping Popcorn, for introducing a few more films from Japanese cinema. The first film is Monster, 2023, directed by Hirokazu Koreeda. However, I do not recommend watching this film. It can be considered quite mediocre. In my opinion, Drive My Car, 2021, by Ryusuke Hamaguchi, also didn't strike me as particularly worthwhile, despite the fact that they received much more attention than they deserved. On the other hand, Muddy River, 1981, directed by Kohio Gori, is a film I definitely recommend to enthusiasts of Japanese cinema, classic films, and black and white movies. It particularly reminds me of Kiarostami's cinema, especially films like Where is the Friend's House, which I truly enjoyed. The next film is The Face of Another, 1966, directed by Hiroshi Teshigahara, who also directed Woman in the Dunes. This film and its director are significant representatives of the Japanese New Wave cinema. Next, we have Mother, 1963, directed by Kaneto Shindo, which I also find to be a worthwhile and lovely film in its own right. However, in the slow cinema genre, it may not stand out as much as Muddy River on this list of popcorn films. Nevertheless, I think Mother is a good film. Lastly, Ishai, 1953, directed by Kenji Mizoguchi, is the final film I introduce in this popcorns list. And friends, it's clear that Japanese cinema is much richer than what can be introduced with just 10 or 20 films. Of course, there is another section titled Samurai Films, which is a remnant of Japanese cinema that I will introduce to you later. I think this section resembles art films a lot, and I have separated the samurai and jidageki films. In any case, there are other films from Japanese cinema that I either didn't mention because they belong to a different genre, or perhaps I have not seen or recognized at all, so I did not include them in this section. I would be happy if you could introduce these films to me. The films in this section are listed with their release years in the description. As I mentioned, I look forward to hearing your opinions, suggestions, and introductions of other films from Japanese cinema. Stay happy, healthy, and well until the next flashback.
Wow, すごいシミ。わあ。